Josh Green here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by Eddie Hearn, just a couple of nights away from Benn Vargas, and a big card ahead at the Copper Box Arena in just a couple of nights. Big night for a lot of fighters.
Yeah, it's a really good card actually when you break down all the fights. I mean, as we close in on this fanless period, which we hoped would have ended 6 months ago or 3 months ago, and just goes on, and you know, we've continued to put on good shows behind closed doors. This is another one, and you know, you got this one, you got the Parker Chisora fight, and then you got our May 15th show, and then hopefully we're back. So in what capacity, we'll wait to hear, but I'm proud of what we've done in boxing, and globally we're smashing it, and this is a really good card on Saturday.
Yeah, there's a few fights I want to touch on for the weekend. We'll start with Ebony Bridges.
Yeah.
What a fight that could turn out to be. You can tell just by watching the presser just sort of half an hour ago. There's a bit of angst there. They don't like
yeah, it's good.
Other.
I mean, look, I think when you're in the certain divisions in women's boxing, you get to a stage where you're 5 or 6 and 0, and it's like you're kind of ready to fight for a world title. So these two, quite inexperienced, really. Ebony's got this shot not just because she's undefeated, but she's talked a great game. You know, she's had a strategy and the way that she's going to present herself and sell herself to get this chance, and Shannon's gone through and suffered defeat to Rachel Wall, came back with a good win, you know, so it's a 50-50 fight, and I think that it's going to be a great fight because I think both girls like to fight, and both girls can punch, and obviously a lot of back and forwards up there as well, and the numbers have been huge on it for us digitally, and a lot of people are going to be tuning in, and it's a massive opportunity for both, to be honest, because if Shannon can become a world champion, it's another world champion from Britain, and if Ebony can do it, it's a massive fan base in Australia, and you know, with her profile as well, it's going to be an interesting fight. 20 minutes, you know, 10-2s, belts in the air. Good luck to both.
And the main event, obviously, Conor Benn against Samuel Vargas. Vargas very experienced,
really
ran
tough
through his record earlier. There's some names on there, and you'll be looking to add Conor Benn as another one. Surely,
I mean, you know, when you look at the defeats, people might say, what was it, 6 defeats? So yeah, Errol Spence, Danny Garcia, Luis Collazo, Amir Khan. I mean, just list goes on. Virgil Ortiz just recently as well, and against Virgil Ortiz, took the kitchen sink, got stopped on his feet, and said to the ref, "I'm fine." You know, I mean, we're all hyping Conor Benn, and you know, I'm one of the ones that's guilty. That's my job. But this is a different kind of fight. Now, this isn't a Formella fight where you bash him up 3 or 4 rounds and then he sort of goes into a shell to survive. Vargas will not stop trying to win this fight. Will not stop throwing. He's going to be really dangerous. I think this is a 50-50 fight. But I tell you what, if Conor Benn comes through, then his ceiling just keeps on rising, and he's a star, this kid. You know, you talk about numbers for Bridges and Courtenay. Conor Benn does big numbers, and he's exciting, always in great fights.
If Conor Benn was to win this fight, where would that sort of place him on the world scene? Because he's right on the fringes at the moment. Where would it place him?
I think, look, he's top 15 with a couple of governing bodies. Is he as yet a real top 15 when you do an independent panel? He's there or thereabouts. This is the kind of fight that can just kick him inside. Then it starts getting really tough. I mean, Saturday's going to be tough, but you know, look at the division. It's absolutely stacked, and to get in that top 5, you've got to be beating Crawford, Spence, Pacquiao, Thurman, Ugas, Virgil Ortiz, Jaron Ennis. I mean, look at the names. It's so difficult. I feel a bit sorry for him to win a world title or challenge for a world title at 147. How'd you win one? But no rush. You know, I'd still like to see him fight for the European title, whether that's against Avanesian or whether that, you know, and Avanesian's another guy. I mean, we just saw against Josh Kelly. So stacked division. I'm really pleased with what he's doing, with how he's progressing, how hard he's working, and hopefully he comes through on Saturday.
Speaking to Tony Sims yesterday, you often forget that he's only been in the game 5 years. He's only 24 years of age. Conor, is a long way to go with him still.
There is, and he was so raw when he started, virtually no amateur experience, but he's got there because he's grafted really, really hard. He's listened, he's learned. Tony Sims, outstanding trainer. He's stayed close to him. He's taken him as not just a coach but a mentor, really. He's learned the game inside out. He's been through hard fights. He's travelled the world to fight. This is his moment on Saturday.
Moving away from this card, you had a lot of fun in Gibraltar last week, as we saw, and Dillian Whyte got the job done. What's next for Dillian Whyte? Obviously AJ and Fury will come on to later. Their sort of attention is taken away from now. What's next on the bill for
I'd like to see him go and fight in America, to be honest with you. I think that, you know, we've made it clear we want the Deontay Wilder fight. I think going out, having a fight in America would be great for his career and his profile. That's what I'm going to suggest to those guys for June or July. And then I think try and make the Deontay Wilder fight later in the year. You know, Dylan's had a tough run. You know, he's gone, you know, even the WAC fight was tough under the circumstances. But, you know, you look at it, Chisora, even before that, Helenius, Chisora, Rivas, Parker, Chisora, Povetkin. I mean, you know, he kind of, I'm not saying he needs an easy fight, but I'd like to take him out there, you know, and make a push out there for his profile. And he has a huge fights ahead after that win against Povetkin.
Just touching on some of the cards we've got coming up, you mentioned Chisora Parker is now, we're ready for that, not far, what is it, a month away?
Yeah,
over a month
less
away?
3 weeks now. I mean, you know, this week obviously we're in London. Next week we've got Milan, and we've also got, of course, Andrade against Williams, which has gone a little bit under the radar. It's a great fight for the world middleweight title. Then the week after that, we've got a big show in Barcelona, Gavin McDonnell and Kay Prosper going for the European title. And then after that, we've got Chisora Parker, Katie Taylor against Jonas, Eubank against Morrison, Bivol against Richards. You've got Scott Fitzgerald, Campbell Hatton on the card as well. The next week, we're in Dallas for Canelo Saunders, absolutely huge event. May 15th, we'll be announcing our UK show, probably early next week as well. It's a great show. It's non-stop, so I think we've done a great job, and coupled in with trying to get this deal over the line for AJ Fury, of course, the site. So really busy, but great to be busy. Great that boxing's thriving still in this environment, which is a very difficult environment, and onwards and upwards.
You mentioned Campbell Hatton there, he got the job done last week in Gibraltar. Was it the thing that you wanted to get him out as soon as again possible?
Yeah, I think
really
that I said on the day of the fight, I was in the gym. I know you wouldn't believe it, but I was there with Matthew Hatton, right? And I said to him, because I knew the kid he fought, limited but super tough, right? I knew it was going to go points. I said to Matt, as fit as Campbell Hatton is, you watch, he will not be able to breathe at the end of the fourth round. And he was. I mean, this kid is so fit. He was the whole week, you know, people don't realise, he was doing media from 8 AM till 7 PM. The expectation, blue moon, you know, the cameras, the whole world watching. It happened to Conor as well, so I want to get him back in, May the 1st, and you know, you're going to see a much better Campbell Hatton next time. The kid can fight, get that one out of the way, learn from that experience, and he's a great addition to the May the 1st card.
Just going back to Chisora Parker, where is this fight in the career of Derek Chisora?
It's last chance saloon to get, you know, ever get close to fighting for a world title. I mean, you know, people might say, well, Usyk was the last chance saloon. Very difficult to call the Usyk fight a last chance saloon. Do you know what I mean? And he did well in that fight. I mean, actually, for some reason, when I watched it live, I had it a draw. And then when I went and watched it at home, I only gave Del Boy 4 or 5 rounds. But still, that's no disgrace to a pound for pound star. You're talking about Derek Chisora.
Yeah.
You know, you saw Parker get a good win against Farr. He was very inactive. But this is a 50-50 fight. I think the styles will gel fantastically well, and the card's unbelievable. But Parker's looking at it and saying, if I beat Chisora, these belts are all going to go up in the air within the next 9 to 12 months, you know. So everyone's positioning themselves for a shot at one of those vacant belts, and Joseph Parker is right up there.
One more card I want to get your opinions on. Billy Saunders, possibly one of his biggest opportunity for
massive opportunity, and the moment.
Yeah.
You know, Billy's had his ups and downs. People like him, people dislike him. He's been controversial, none of which matter. No. This is it. He said he's always believed he can beat these guys. Now he's got the chance. Right, unification fight, 70,000 people, loads of money, but more than that, the chance, right? And he's really, what I've seen from Billy, he's gone right under the radar. You know, he's almost gone offline, which is a really good thing for Billy Joe Saunders. But he has been with Mark Tibbs for months, not just weeks, for months. They were out in Fuerteventura, they're now over in the States. They have worked their absolute nuts off. You see a few pictures coming in of Billy where he's in shape like you haven't seen him in for many years. So this is it. He knows. They know how good Canelo Alvarez is. Billy Joe has got to be the best he's ever been to even be competitive in this fight. And he's got to hope that he can make Canelo not be 100%, and he can win the fight. And he can win the fight. But Canelo is a fantastic fighter. But this is it. You know, this is the second time I've made the Canelo fight for him, and the first time wasn't his fault. The pandemic came. He's got the opportunity. He's got to go and make the most of it.
A few more things I want to touch on. The TV deal with Sky. Is there any new negotiations? Anything that you can tell me about that?
Lots ongoing. I mean, it's a very personal thing for us, because obviously we're faced with a really difficult decision. I'm not going to talk about it too much, other than we know that, you know, I have a tendency to say 2 weeks at the moment, and I don't even want to say that. I want to say we have to make some decisions soon. So, like I said, we've had an amazing relationship with Sky for many years across all sports, and we're faced with a very difficult decision, one which we take very seriously, and we'll announce our decision in due course.
In terms of Triller, we've seen over the past few weeks they've been making waves in the boxing world. What do you make of what's been going on there?
I think it's anyone that wants to invest in boxing at that level has to be great for the sport, because one, it's more money for the fighters, but two, it shows the other broadcasters and the other platform that boxing is desirable. You know, we were a bit like, say we, DAZN, were a bit like Triller in America 2 years ago. We came in, we overspent because no one knew who we were, not just DAZN but Matchroom. We cemented that position. We have, I believe, the best schedule in boxing in America on DAZN, unquestionably. And now we just readjust and we become a top rank, or an ESPN, or a PBC. Triller come in, crash, bang, wallop. We've seen it before. I did it. Lasts for about a year, and then everyone goes, all right, now calm down, calm down. But whilst it lasts, good luck to the fighters. You know, you've got Tiafimo getting a huge payday, you know, Regis Prograis fighting on there, you know, and I think, you know, honestly, I would never say anything bad about a platform that's investing money into boxing, and more the merrier.
Finally, AJ Fury, Tyson says 3 days ago. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, we've all given ourselves a deadline to present the options to the fighters, of which we'll stick to that deadline, and this weekend they'll have those options. It's a bit, you know, I saw John Fury's interview as well. It's almost like they don't want the fight to happen. Yeah. You know, I don't really understand why there's not more support. I'm out there grafting my nuts off, trying to get this deal done, and you're saying, "Oh, no one's going to do it. Oh, you nearly run out of time." Like, you haven't really got any other options for a sizable fight than AJ. So get behind it. You know, we're nearly there. We've got 3 or 4 options that will be presented to both fighters at the weekend. Everyone will talk. We'll try and come to an agreement. Hopefully we have a fight. But it's disheartening to hear those comments when I'm grafting my nuts off, quite frankly, to try and get it done. And I won't stop till we get it done, because I don't really care about Tyson Fury. I care about Anthony Joshua. And I want to deliver him this undisputed fight. It's everything for us. So they're going to get offers. And hopefully they're happy, and hopefully we've got a fight.
Well, brilliant. Thank you very much for your time, Eddie.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.